welcome. You're here now, in a space meant only for peace. Let the world around you soften. Let the pace of your day begin to slow, and allow your thoughts to grow quieter with every breath. This time is just for you, a gentle moment where you don't have to do anything, be anywhere, or carry any burdens. You've arrived at the edge of a story. Not just any story, but a sacred one. One passed down through centuries, from candlelit tents in the desert to quiet corners of modern homes. A story whispered from God's heart to yours. It's the story of Noah, a man who listened when the world stopped listening. A man who walked with God even when the skies were clear and the task ahead seemed strange. And it's the story of how, through patience, trust, and divine care, he was kept safe, along with his family and all creation. Through the gentle fury of the flood, as this story unfolds, you don't need to think or remember anything. You don't need to stay alert. In fact, you're invited to rest. Let these words be background music to your evening, a soft current beneath your breath. Whether you're lying in bed, preparing for sleep, or just seeking stillness, you're welcome here. The room you're in begins to feel quieter now. Shadows grow soft around you, and somewhere in the distance, the sky is painted with the last light of dusk. Imagine it, the kind of twilight that lingers just a little longer, casting golden hues across the earth. A breeze stirs gently, and everything begins to hush. This is how the story begins. Not with thunder, but with stillness. As we journey through the story of Noah and the ark, you'll hear the patter of distant rain, the creak of old wood, the whisper of God's voice through ancient winds. You'll feel the heartbeat of a world in waiting. And above all, you'll feel safe. You'll meet a man of quiet faith, living in a world filled with noise. You'll hear the echo of obedience. In the strike of every nail, the gathering of animals, the breath of creation preparing for rest. This story has always been one of comfort, not fear, not punishment, but promise. And promise is a gentle thing. It waits, it holds. It carries us when we are too tired to carry ourselves. So, as you listen, feel your muscles soften. Let your thoughts float like clouds in a quiet sky. There's no rush here. There's only presence, only breath, only God's steady hand guiding this journey. Should your mind wander, that's okay. The story will continue like a lullaby in the background, inviting you back with every word. you close your eyes, you may begin to see it. The great ark resting under starlight. The soft eyes of animals in the quiet. And Noah, seated in peace, trusting completely in the one who called him. This is a story of peace in the storm, of light after darkness, of promise after uncertainty. And as you listen, may you find yourself wrapped in that same peace. May you remember that you are held, you are loved, and you are never alone. Now let us begin. In the beginning, the earth was still beautiful. There were green valleys stretched beneath golden skies, streams that sang softly over stones, trees that reached toward heaven as if in worship. But something had changed. Though the land remained lovely, the hearts of the people had grown distant. Their laughter was loud but empty. Their hands were busy but rarely kind. And the voice of God, once so near, was now barely remembered. A quiet echo in the corners of the soul. It was a world that had forgotten how to be still, how to be faithful, how to be good. But not everyone had turned away. In the midst of this noisy, restless world, there was one man, quiet, steady, faithful. His name was Noah. He wasn't famous, he wasn't powerful, but his heart was different. While others chased after their own desires, Noah walked with God. Imagine him now, his hands in the soil planting, his home surrounded by family, their laughter soft and warm in the cool morning air. And each day Noah would pause, not just to work or rest, but to pray, to listen, to dwell in the nearness of his Creator. He didn't need signs in the sky to believe. He simply trusted in the same quiet way that the sun rises or the tide returns. And God saw him. Among the multitudes, among the crowds that had turned away, God's eyes rested on Noah with love. Scripture tells us, but Noah found favor in the eyes of the Lord. It was not because he was perfect, but because he was willing to listen, to follow, to be different. The world around him grew darker still. Men plotted and took what they wanted. Kindness became rare, and cruelty became easy. The skies, once filled with birdsong, grew heavy with silence. The rivers ran, but they no longer danced. Even the earth seemed to sigh beneath the weight of it all. And God, who had formed this world in love, grieved. He saw the pain, he saw the brokenness, and with a heart full of sorrow, not anger, but deep sorrow, he whispered a plan, a way to begin again, not to destroy, but to cleanse, not to abandon, but to preserve, through one man, one family, and one great vessel of mercy. This is where the story begins, in a world on the edge of change, where one man's quiet faith would carry creation through the storm. The skies had not yet opened. The ark had not yet been built, but something was stirring, and Noah, still kneeling in prayer, still listening in the twilight, was ready to hear. The sky was quiet that evening, the kind of stillness that settles gently like a soft blanket over the land. The last rays of sunlight filtered through the clouds, casting golden light across Noah's fields. His home stood at the edge of the hills, surrounded by trees that whispered in the wind. Inside, a candle flickered. Noah sat in silence, eyes closed, heart open. He often ended his days this way, listening more than speaking, resting in the presence of the God he loved. And then, in the hush of twilight, a voice, not loud, not harsh, but steady, holy, alive. Noah, his name spoken not with fear, but with purpose, a sacred call in the deep quiet. God was near. Noah, I have seen the earth. I have seen the sorrow. The hearts of mankind have turned from me, and the world groans beneath their weight. Noah listened, breath still, soul awake. I will send rain, not for a day or even a week, but for 40 days and nights. Water will cover the earth, and I will wash away the pain, the cruelty, the noise. The words carried no anger, only sorrow, only truth. But you, Noah, you have found favor in my eyes. You walk with me, and through you I will preserve life. Then came the instructions, gentle but clear. Build an ark, God said, a great vessel of wood and faith, 3 stories tall, strong, covered in pitch to keep the waters out. Bring with you your family, and 2 of every living creature, male and female, so that life may begin again when the waters recede. It was a task beyond comprehension, a command no one else would understand. But Noah did not doubt, not because he had the full picture, but because he trusted the one who spoke it. He bowed his head in quiet reverence, the candlelight flickering across his face. He whispered a prayer, not asking why, not pleading for answers, but simply offering his yes. Outside, the stars blinked in silence. The trees swayed as if listening, and within Noah's heart a quiet strength began to grow. The next morning, he rose before the sun. With steady hands, he began to gather wood. Tall gopher trees from the hills, their scent sweet in the morning air. Each beam was placed with care, each nail driven with prayer, and with every passing day, the shape of the ark slowly emerged. Others watched, some laughed, some shook their heads and walked away. But Noah kept building, not for approval, but for obedience. The voice that spoke in twilight still echoed softly in his spirit, a promise of protection, a covenant of mercy, a holy calling answered one quiet morning at the edge of the flood. The days passed slowly, and with each one the ark began to take form. It was unlike anything the world had ever seen. A great vessel stretching toward the sky, crafted from timber and obedience. Its frame creaked in the wind, tall and strong, resting on dry ground where no ship had ever stood. Noah worked with steady hands. His sons brought beams and tools. His wife and daughters-in-law prepared stores of grain, oil, and clean water. There was no rush, no fear, only trust woven into the rhythm of each passing day. The people who passed by laughed softly at first, but their laughter grew louder, mocking, disbelieving. Rain, they said up. Floods, they questioned. There were no signs in the sky, no storms in the distance, only sun and the strange silhouette of a ship rising out of the earth. But Noah did not look up at their voices. He kept his gaze steady, for he wasn't building for the world's approval. He was building because he had heard the voice of God. Then one morning the wind changed. A breeze stirred the trees differently. The sky still held its blue, but there was something deeper in the air, something waiting. And then they began to come, two by two, from the forests and fields, from mountain tops and shadowed valleys. The animals walked, guided not by leash or whistle, but by something holy. Feathers fluttered in the sky, paws padded across the ground. Snakes curled quietly in baskets. Birds sang softly from tree branches as they waited their turn. Lions walked side by side with gazelles. Wolves came not as hunters, but as passengers. There was no fear, only calm. The earth itself seemed to hold its breath. As creation gathered in obedience to its maker, Noah stood at the open door of the ark, watching in reverent silence. He gently led each pair inside, into the wooden halls prepared for them, lined with hay, soft with warmth, ready for the journey to come. Inside, the ark was quiet, peaceful. Each animal settled into its space. The sound of breath, of fur rustling, of feathers shifting, filled the great wooden corridors with life. Evening fell slowly. The final rays of sunlight glowed against the ark's curved sides, casting golden reflections on the ground. Noah's family gathered beneath the stars. The animals were resting. The ark was ready. And though the skies were still clear, Noah knew the time was near. He looked once more at the horizon, where the last of the animals disappeared into the twilight. He whispered a prayer of gratitude, not for what he could see, but for the one who sees all. In the quiet before the storm, the ark stood tall and full, a shelter of grace, built by faith, awaiting the first drop of rain. The skies were still. A quiet settled across the land, not the stillness of peace, but the hush that comes before something sacred. Noah stood near the ark, his eyes searching the horizon. The wind had grown cooler. Clouds once scattered like soft wool, now gathered with slow intent, pulling across the sky in silvery streaks. Then, in the silence, a sound, software gentle, barely more than a whisper. A single drop of rain touched the earth, then another and another. It fell on leaves with a light patter, on rooftops with a gentle rhythm, on the wooden sides of the ark with a hollow, echoing sound, like fingertips tapping a drum in the distance. The air smelled of damp soil and drifting wood smoke. The world held its breath. Noah turned toward the open door of the ark. God's voice spoke once more. Calm, firm, unwavering. Go into the ark, you and your whole family, because I have found you righteous in this generation. And so Noah obeyed. One by one, his family entered. The last lamb crossed the threshold. The final bird took its perch. And behind them, with no human hand, the door closed, sealed by God Himself. Inside, the candlelight flickered. The animals rested in their stalls. Noah and his wife sat in silence, holding one another's hands, as the first true wave of rain rolled across the roof. Outside, the rhythm began to build. The droplets became streams. The streams became rivers. The rivers became oceans. From the sky above and the ground below, water surged, not with violence, but with purpose. It was not chaos, it was cleansing. Still, the ark did not tremble. It lifted slowly like a leaf upon the water, carried not by chance, but by the hand of God. From within, the world was quiet. The storm's roar became distant, muffled by wooden walls and the sound of steady breathing. Noah lit another lantern. He walked through the ark's corridors, pausing by each creature. He whispered to them softly, as if reminding them, "You are safe." The rain continued day after day, night after night, but never once did the ark falter. It swayed gently like a cradle on the sea. The family prayed. They sang in hushed tones. They shared stories by firelight, and through it all, they waited, held by grace, wrapped in faith. Noah didn't know how long the rain would last, but he knew who sent the rain, and that was enough. As the world outside was washed clean inside the ark, peace reigned. Above them the heavens poured. Below them the earth was hidden. But around them, within them, was the presence of God, and that was their shelter. That was their ark. Days passed, and still the rain fell. But inside the ark there was calm, a rhythm. A new kind of life began, not hurried or loud, but quiet, steady, and sacred. The ark creaked gently as it floated, swaying like a cradle over the deep waters. It moved not with panic, but with grace, guided by unseen hands. Each morning, soft light peeked through small openings above. Noah would rise before the others, offering a silent prayer of thanks. As the candlelight flickered on the wooden walls, the animals stirred in their stalls. A lion stretched with a quiet yawn. Birds fluffed their feathers and sang soft notes, not of fear, but of waiting. Noah's family moved through their tasks slowly. There was no rush here, no loud voices, no anxious steps, only simple routines that brought comfort. Feeding, watering, tending, resting. Meals were shared together. By the glow of lanterns, they would eat and talk, sometimes laughing, sometimes just sitting in peaceful silence. Outside, the rain whispered like a lullaby. It tapped gently on the roof, a reminder of the world being made new, washed, cleansed, reborn. Inside, the ark became more than wood and pitch. It became a home, a sanctuary, a vessel of trust floating above a world in transition. At night, Noah would walk slowly through the ark's corridors, checking on every creature, pausing to whisper peace to them. The air smelled of wood and straw and quiet. There were moments of waiting, long, slow hours where nothing seemed to change. But even in the waiting, God was near. In the stillness, He was present. Noah did not know how long they would be there, but he did not ask. He did not count the days or measure the skies. Instead, he listened for the quiet voice that had spoken to him before the rain, the voice that promised safety, the voice that never leaves. And so they waited together. Family and creatures, old and young, all held in the hollow of God's hand. The ark, heavy with life, floated on water that stretched farther than any eye could see. But there was no fear, because the one who brought them in was still with them. And that was enough. In the midst of the great flood, there was peace. Not because of the ark's strength, but because of God's. Not because they had control, but because they trusted the one who did. And slowly, softly, the rains began to slow. The first sign of something new was coming, but for now they rested together in faith, in stillness, in the ark of God's love. And then, one morning, the rhythm of the rain stopped. No more tapping on the roof, no more distant roar. Only silence, stillness, peace. The ark floated quietly, cradled by the calm waters below and the soft light above. Noah rose early and stepped into the upper level of the ark. He looked through a small window. What he saw was sky, open, clear, stretching far and wide. No clouds, no storm, just light. The world had changed. Day by day, the waters slowly began to fade. Not with great waves or sudden drops, but gently, like breath leaving the lungs of the earth. Mountaintops began to appear in the far distance. Just faint outlines at first, like shadows beneath the sky, and still they waited. Noah didn't rush. He didn't guess or assume. He trusted. He watched and he prayed. After many weeks, the ark came to rest on a mountain called Ararat, not with a jolt, but with a soft settling, like a leaf finding its place among the branches. Noah waited 7 more days. Then, with hands that trembled slightly from reverence, he opened a window and released a raven. The bird flew across the sky, soaring above the waters, seeking a place to land. But the world was still not ready. So Noah waited again. Then he sent a dove, a small white-winged symbol of peace. It flew into the soft blue sky, and as the family watched, it disappeared over the horizon. Their hearts were quiet. The dove returned. Its wings were tired, its eyes calm, and in its beak a single green olive leaf. Life. The earth was breathing again. Noah closed his eyes and whispered thanks. The waters were receding. The trees were blooming again somewhere, the roots pushing into soil that had slept under waves. Still, he waited. 1 week more, then he sent the dove again. This time it did not return, and Noah knew the world was ready. The ark had done its part. It had carried life safely through the storm, and now it was time to begin again. But Noah didn't rush out the door. He didn't move until God's voice called once more. "Come out of the ark," the voice said, "you and your family and every living creature with you. Let them fill the earth again." The door was opened, and light poured in, warm, gentle, welcoming. Noah stepped out onto dry ground. The air was sweet and cool. The sky stretched endlessly above. The world, washed in quiet, waited to begin anew. And Noah, man of faith, of patience, of peace, knelt in the soil and gave thanks to the one who had kept every promise. The earth was quiet, fresh, cleansed, alive again. The grass beneath Noah's feet was soft and damp, sprinkled with dew. The wind that brushed against his face carried the scent of wet soil and blooming life, as though the earth itself was breathing for the first time. He looked around. The animals stepped carefully onto dry ground, blinking in the sunlight. They moved without fear, led by the same invisible hand that had brought them to the ark. Birds took flight, lifting into the blue sky. Deer bounded into the trees. Tigers padded quietly into the shadows of the hills. And Noah knelt right there in the open, beneath the wide sky. He built an altar, not to mark the end of the flood, but to mark the faithfulness of the one who had carried them through it. There were no words, just worship. He laid stones carefully. He lit a fire gently. He bowed his head. It was a moment of stillness, a sacred pause between the world that had been and the world that was yet to come. And then God spoke, not with thunder, not from a distance, but with tenderness. "I establish my covenant with you," he said. "Never again will all life be destroyed by the waters of a flood, and never again will there be a flood to destroy the earth." Noah lifted his eyes. The clouds parted above, and stretched across the heavens was a bow of light, soft hues of violet, blue, gold, and rose. not fierce, not blazing, but quiet, like a painting brushed by God's own hand. The first rainbow, a sign, a promise, a reminder that God remembers that mercy follows judgment, that love always has the last word. Noah's children stood beside him, their faces lit by the rainbow's glow. The wind carried their laughter gently, and the world began again. The ark, now empty, rested behind them. A monument of grace, not a relic of fear, but of faith. Noah's journey was not one of escape, but of obedience. He did not save himself. He simply followed the one who saves. And now, as the rainbow lingered overhead, the skies whispered with peace. The world was not perfect, but it was new. And God was near. In that quiet morning light, a covenant was sealed, not just between God and Noah, but between God and all living things, forever. And even now, when the rains fall and the clouds gather, we look up and remember. You've walked through a story, not only of flood and rescue, but of quiet courage, trust, and divine care. Now, as the storm has passed and the rainbow has faded into the sky, let's take a moment to breathe in what this journey means, not only for Noah, but for you, right here, right now. Noah's story is one of preparation, but it's not about preparing in fear. It's about preparing in faith. Imagine what it meant for him to start building the ark, not because of what he saw, but because of what he heard. A whisper from God in the stillness. There was no storm yet, no thunder, just a quiet instruction. And Noah obeyed. This is what makes the story so powerful, that someone could follow God into the unknown with no clear picture of what lay ahead. Perhaps there have been moments in your life when you've felt called to do something difficult, something that didn't make sense to others. Maybe you've been misunderstood or walked a path others couldn't see. In those moments, remember Noah. He didn't need proof. He needed presence. And he had it, the presence of a faithful God who never speaks without purpose. We are not always asked to build arks, great wooden structures rising from the ground, but we are asked to build other things: trust, patience, hope. We are asked to create space for something we don't fully understand yet, and to believe that it will be good. There's another quiet thread that runs through this story. Waiting, So much of Noah's journey was not building, but waiting. He waited as the animals gathered. He waited through the storm. He waited long after the rain stopped. Even when the ark came to rest on solid ground, he waited still. That kind of patience doesn't come from passivity. It comes from trust. Sometimes we think of waiting as doing nothing. But in truth, waiting can be one of the most powerful acts of faith. To pause, to rest, to say, I don't need to see the outcome yet. I believe something good is unfolding. And maybe that's where you are now. In between the building and the arriving, in the ark, floating between what was and what will be. If so, you're not lost. You're being carried by something bigger than you, by love itself. You're not drifting. You're being held. Think too of the ark. It had no steering wheel, no rudder, no sail. Noah didn't direct it. He didn't have to. It moved because it was meant to. It floated not because of its strength, but because of God's guidance. Maybe you've felt like you've lost control at times. That's okay. This story reminds us sometimes the safest place we can be is not in control, but in surrender. To let go of the outcome, to stop steering, to allow ourselves to float on the waters of trust. There's comfort in knowing you don't have to guide every part of your journey. You simply have to rest where you are and know that you're not alone in it. The animals aboard the ark weren't anxious. They weren't wondering what day they'd disembark. They simply rested. They trusted the shelter given to them, and so can you. Maybe you're facing uncertainty. Maybe you're carrying quiet fears. Maybe the world around you feels like it's in a storm. Or maybe your storm is internal, emotional, spiritual, hidden. Whatever it is, this story offers you something deeply gentle, the reminder that peace is possible, even when the skies are dark, because peace doesn't come from the absence of rain. It comes from knowing there's an ark, a place of safety, a refuge in the midst of it all. That ark might be your faith, your prayer life, your quiet resilience, your simple daily routines that keep you grounded. Sometimes your ark is a person, a friend, a loved one. Sometimes it's a practice, like breathing deeply or taking time to rest, or speaking kindness to yourself when you feel weak. What matters most is not the storm, but the presence of shelter. Noah's ark didn't prevent the flood. It carried him through it. That's the kind of hope you're invited into. Not the promise of a life without rain, but a life where you'll never be left alone in it. And then there's the rainbow, that gentle curve of color stretched across the sky. What a quiet miracle it must have been. After all that time, after the waiting, after the silence, the storm didn't end in destruction. It ended in beauty. In that final image, we're reminded what feels like the end is often just a beginning. Something new can grow from what once felt washed away. A new way of thinking, a new path, a new season of calm. This is the rhythm of life. Flood, rest, rise, renew, and through all of it, a love that never leaves. Even now, as you lie here listening, there is something healing about this moment. You've slowed your thoughts. You've created space to breathe. You've let your mind rest in something greater than fear. And perhaps in this story, you've remembered something about yourself, that you are not forgotten, that your waiting is not wasted, that your arc is strong enough, that the storm will pass, and that beyond the flood, there is always light. So let this reflection linger in your spirit. Let it drift softly through your heart like the waters beneath the ark. Let it remind you that stillness is sacred, that trust is enough, that being carried is not weakness, but grace. Tonight, may you rest like Noah did, in quiet, in peace, in the middle of the unknown, but safe in the knowing that you are seen, guided, and loved. Let your breath deepen. Let your body soften. Let your soul exhale. The rainbow may not be visible yet, but it's there, waiting just beyond the clouds. And it's not just a promise to the world, it's a promise to you. Now take another deep breath and let yourself begin to drift. There's no need to think anymore. No need to remember or plan or hold on to anything. You are safe. You are here, and this space, this moment, belongs only to you. As you lie still, feel your body becoming lighter. Feel your shoulders letting go. Your arms, your legs, your jaw softens, your forehead smooths, your breathing slows, just enough, not forced, just natural, like the waves that rise and fall somewhere far off. In your mind's eye, picture yourself standing at the edge of a vast open field. The morning light is gentle, spilling across tall grass that sways in a rhythm older than memory. You are barefoot. The earth beneath you is soft and cool. You feel every step. The dew kisses your skin as you walk. There's no urgency here, just peace. You begin to walk forward, slowly, as the breeze brushes against your skin, carrying with it the faint scent of rain and cedar wood. The sky above you is wide and open, with clouds stretched like feathers across a canvas of soft blue. As you move through the field, you notice the great ark in the distance. It is silent now, resting, still. Its massive wooden sides are warm in the sun, smooth and weathered. You approach it gently, as though stepping into a memory, or maybe a dream. The door is open. You step inside. The light dims just slightly, and the air inside is cool and calming. There is a scent of earth, wood, and quiet. Each step echoes lightly through the corridors. The walls breathe gently around you, as if the ark is still alive, still watching over those it once carried. You walk past open stalls, each one filled with the memory of life. Feathers left behind in corners, hay scattered softly on the ground. You hear the soft hum of silence, a silence that comforts, not isolates. In one corner, there is a place to sit, and so you do. You lower yourself into the stillness, and it welcomes you. The ark seems to cradle you, a place of rest, of refuge. Here you can let go of every thought, of every question. Here, you don't need answers, you don't need direction, you only need breath. You close your eyes and you are safe. You imagine the rain from days before. Not fierce, not chaotic, but gentle now, in memory. A soothing sound that once sang across the rooftop. You imagine how it felt to be protected, to be carried, to be loved. You were never outside the ark. You were always inside it, held, watched over, known. Now in your mind, you step out once more, back into the light. The land outside the ark has changed. It is green, alive, awake. New trees stretch toward the heavens. Flowers bloom quietly at your feet. Small streams weave their way through the soil, glimmering under the sunlight. Birds fly overhead. Animals graze nearby, calm, unafraid. There is no rush in them, only the rhythm of beginning again. You find a place to sit beneath a young tree. Its leaves shimmer as they dance with the breeze. The trunk is warm against your back, and as you lean into it, you feel the steady strength of something rooted, something ancient, something enduring. You close your eyes again. And this time, you don't picture a storm. You picture a sky dash, clear and vast, stretching forever. And across it arches a rainbow, software, radiant, full of color and light. It doesn't shout, it doesn't flash. It simply exists like a promise made not in words, but in presence. You lie back on the soft grass. The earth supports you completely. The sky watches over you. The air is filled with birdsong and the rustle of new leaves. You are not dreaming. You are remembering. Remembering what it feels like to be still, to be held, to be renewed. You imagine that somewhere nearby, Noah is walking the fields, not as a man rushing to rebuild, but as someone who knows the value of waiting, who understands the beauty of what comes after the storm. You imagine he smiles as he sees the world reborn, not perfect, but new. And he, like you, feels something stirring inside, a quiet strength, a peaceful hope. You turn your gaze to the sky one more time. The rainbow remains. It's not just in the sky. It's in you. The same colors, the same grace, the same quiet miracle that followed the rain. In this moment, there is no past chasing you, no future pulling you. There is only now, only breath, only stillness. You are at rest. You are in the garden after the storm. You are standing in the peace that follows faith. You are in the arms of something divine, something eternal. Let yourself linger here. Let your breath continue its gentle rhythm. Let your thoughts drift like leaves on the breeze. There's nowhere else you need to be. There's nothing else you need to do. You've arrived. And this is enough. Stay here as long as you like. Let this place become a part of you, a place you can return to whenever the world grows loud again. Just remember, peace is always waiting. Hope always follows the rain. And you, dear heart, are always held in the quiet love of the one who watches over every storm. You've walked the path with Noah. You've listened to the stillness of the ark, felt the rhythm of the rain, and stepped out into a world made new. And now you are here, not in the middle of a storm, but at the edge of peace, wrapped in it, breathing it in. Let yourself rest now. There is nothing more you need to do. You've heard the story. You've felt the comfort. You are ready to let go. Let the weight of the day gently slip away. Let every thought become softer. Let every muscle in your body settle a little deeper into the space around you. You are held. You are safe. You are not forgotten. Just as Noah and his family were carried through waters, through waiting, through uncertainty, you too are being carried through every question, through every quiet ache, through every long night. You don't have to have all the answers. You don't need to know what comes next. You only need to rest. Close your eyes if you haven't already, or let them grow heavier, like leaves drifting down at the end of a long summer. Feel your breath. Slow, steady, gentle, like the rise and fall of the ark on calm waters. Let each breath remind you, you are alive. You are here, and you are not alone. Even now, there is something sacred unfolding inside you, something deeper than understanding, something more peaceful than certainty. You are being invited to trust again, not in outcomes, but in presence, not in control, but in care. This moment is enough. You are enough. You may feel tired, deeply so. That's okay. That's holy too. Even the earth rests. Even the oceans pause. Even the stars do not rush. So let yourself be still. Noah's story didn't end with the ark. It ended with light, with land, with color stretched across the sky. A new beginning. That's the quiet beauty of life. It always continues, even when we don't see how, even when we think we've reached the end. You are part of that same unfolding, carried by the same kindness, covered by the same peace. And tonight, you can let go. Let go of the need to be strong. Let go of the need to have it all figured out. Let go of the guilt, the pressure, the fear. They are not yours to hold anymore. Breathe in peace. Breathe out release. Again, inhale softness. Exhale surrender. Let your heart speak now, not in words, but in whispers, in stillness, in silence. Say quietly within, I am safe. I am guided. I am loved. I am allowed to rest. Let those words move through your body like a gentle wave. Let them settle into every corner of your spirit. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to be ready. You are allowed to simply be. Here now as you are worthy of rest, worthy of healing, worthy of being carried gently through the unknown. Even if you feel broken, you are still beloved. Even if you are weary, you are still whole. And even in the quiet, when no one else sees what you're holding, there is a love that does, a love that surrounds you now. You are not forgotten. You are not invisible. You are known. Tonight, may your sleep be sweet. May your dreams be soft. May your heart be light. Let your mind wander into open skies. Let your soul walk freely in new gardens. Let your body lie still while your spirit finds peace. You are not drifting. You are resting. You are not lost. You are home as the story closes, as the arc fades into memory. Know this truth remains. You are carried. You are covered. You are cherished beyond measure. So now, beloved soul, close your eyes. Let go. Let sleep come like a quiet dove, bringing you peace on its wings. Let the night embrace you, soft as the curve of a rainbow, gentle as the breeze on the new earth. There is no fear here, only calm. There is no darkness here, only rest. There is no storm now, only stillness. You are safe in the arms of love. You are watched over. You are enough. Sleep now and rise when morning comes. Restored, renewed, and reminded. That peace, deep and lasting peace, has always been yours and always will be. Have a good rest.